Hello, hello, friends. It's Raquel from Infinite Succulent here with your energy forecast for the upcoming full moon in Pisces on August 30th around 6:35, 6:36 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it's been a lot, friends. It's been a lot, and most of us are feeling a particular kind of way at this point. Now, let's always remember that the moon represents our emotions. Full moons are typically culminating events, and very often we can have a lot of culminating emotions that arise with this full moon. And this is a full moon in Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. Water also represents our emotions. I do want to state very quickly that this is actually our second full moon of August. August has really been sandwiched between two full moons. We had the full moon in Aquarius on August 1st, and now we're completing with the full moon in Pisces on the 30th. And I think that kind of speaks to just kind of the emotional crescendos, the emotional peaks that we've really been feeling throughout this month of August in particular. It's also what's referred to as a blue moon. Whenever you hear the term blue moon, that means we're having a second full moon in a 1 month period. So let's talk a little bit about the energies of this Pisces full moon. Breath. Take some deep breaths, let yourself exhale, kind of surrender into this energy that feels deep, that feels a little reflective, that feels also a little bit uncontrollable. And that has to do with retrograde season, which we'll talk about in a moment. But let's talk a little bit about moon in Pisces and sun in Virgo. So Pisces is a mutable water sign, which means that Pisces is very flowy, very creative, very emotional. But with that mutable energy, it means that Pisces is also very adaptable. Pisces is able to go with the flow. As I wrote in the moon blog, Pisces is able to both go deep while also flowing and shifting with the changing currents as well. We also have this sun in Virgo, and Virgo is a mutable earth sign, very grounded. On the shadow side with Virgo, we have a lot of self-criticism. So as we're leading into this new moon in Pisces, it might be kind of activating that inner critic that comes in. It's important to remember with Virgo, Virgo has this very meticulous energy. But where Virgo's challenge is to actually see the beauty of imperfection and recognize the strength and power that exists in our flaws, as opposed to holding ourselves to some perfect standard that doesn't ever exist. Okay, so that's kind of like the balance of Virgo. With Pisces, we have this creative, flowy energy. On the shadow side of Pisces, there can be a little bit of escapism, definitely taking things very personally, and um, just kind of getting lost in our own, kind of diving in so deep that we get a little lost in our own emotions. Now, when we pair these energies together, when we have the Pisces, the reflection of Pisces with the kind of meticulous critique of Virgo, it can definitely lead to a lot of inner criticism. But that's not what this energy is asking of us. What this energy is asking of us is to allow for our transformation, to lean into the changes that we're actually being called to change within ourselves in order to shift the outer reality. Because ultimately, no change will ever last. No change will be sustainable if it's not changed within us first. Change always starts from within. So with this new moon, we're really being asked to release old stories, old patterns, old limiting beliefs that keep us feeling small and passive. That's another shadow side of Pisces, is it can kind of go a little bit into passivity. Is that a word? Passivity, being passive? If it's not a word, it should be. It's a good one. Anyway. So anything that kind of has allowed us to stay in a place of playing small, of being passive, we're asked to let that go now and allow ourselves to change and transform into the next version of ourselves. And we might not even know what that next version is, okay? And that's not what this energy is about. This energy is about opening ourselves, allowing ourselves to change, allowing for the transformation to start embedding itself within us. And when we think about changing, sometimes, and especially with this Virgo energy, it can lead to a little bit of inner shaming, blaming, self-critique, or even in that place sometimes we can be in when we know we need to change and that change feels very far away and it can actually constrict us energetically. Here, the moon is actually encouraging us to lean into the desire for change and lean into it from the soul perception of I want to grow versus the ego perception of I'm not enough. Okay. And that's a nice discernment to make. And the moon wants to encourage us to lean into I want to grow versus the way it might first appear in our body, which is the sense of I'm not enough. I'm not enough. Okay. Recognize if that's coming up, go a little deeper with that emotion and see where are you actually being called to create transformation within. That being said, this isn't necessarily the time to start making all the changes. It's more about illumination and letting go of the things that are keeping you stuck in those patterns that make you feel not enough. I think that when we are moving into the next new moon, we'll probably be more in a space of like, okay, here's how I want to actually embody those changes. New moons are better for the embodiment and like taking action, whereas the full moons are really more about like clarity and illumination and releasing or letting things go. Now, paired with the energy of this Pisces full moon, we also have a lot of planets in retrograde. By the time this full moon hits, I think there's going to be 6 or 7 planets in retrograde. But the 2 main planets that we will feel kind of daily impacts with being in retrograde are Venus, which has been retrograde since mid-July and will remain retrograde until September 3rd. And now Mercury, which just went retrograde on the 23rd of August and will remain retrograde until September 14th. So just really briefly, retrogrades. Retrogrades are when a planet appears to be moving backwards in the sky from our perception here on Earth. And certain planets, like some of the ones that are retrograde right now, like Saturn and Neptune, and I think Pluto are also retrograde, and then Uranus will also be retrograde by the time of this full moon. Some of those planets actually spend lots of months in the year in retrograde, and they're big outer planets. They don't really impact us day to day, but Mercury and Venus do. And I'm sure you've heard of Mercury retrograde. I feel like that's definitely made its way into like the common vernacular for the mainstream as well, not just those of us who really love astrology. But Venus is all about our relationships, our creativity, our sense of pleasure and sensuality, our home, our style. Mercury is about communication, technology, travel, but very much communication, which is why we hear a lot about Mercury retrograde, because it does tend to go retrograde 3 or 4 times during the year. It's a common thing. And when it goes retrograde, it tends to affect things like technology and travel and contracts and like all kinds of like little weird things go wrong. And everyone's like, is Mercury retrograde? And often it is. So it's important to note with retrograde energy, it's nothing to fear. It's nothing to be afraid of. Retrogrades are here. Ow, I just put myself in the hand. Retrogrades are here to actually create beautiful opportunities for us to grow. Retrogrades are amazing times for us to kind of go into refinement, reevaluation, reassessment. One of the astrologers who I like to learn from talks about retrogrades being the season of review, reflect, reassess, reevaluate, refine, realign. And another that's really good for retrograde season, rest. We're also in a space right now where we're kind of moving from summer into fall. So seasonally, we're moving from the fire element into the air element. We're moving into a time where things are slowly but surely going to slow down. I mean, even though school just started and things feel like they're crazy right now, as we move into fall, there is a natural urge to start slowing things down a little bit, especially slowing things down in the mind in particular. So these next few weeks, while we have both Venus and Mercury in retrograde, these are beautiful times for rest and reflection. And so the transformation that this full moon in Pisces is calling upon us, the illumination of that desire to transform, That's the message of this Pisces full moon. It's not saying you have to change everything right now. It's just saying, oh, wow, wait, I'm ready to change. I'm ready to do things differently. And then we have this retrograde season, the next 2 weeks until our next new moon. Actually, the retrograde. So September 3rd, Venus will be starting to move direct. And then September 14th, we'll start having Mercury go direct. So we have a few weeks, at least 2 weeks here before the next new moon, to allow ourselves to kind of look at our life, look at ourselves. Where do we want to redefine things, reevaluate things? Where do we want to refine ourselves and realign ourselves? That's what this next period is for. And then probably with the next new moon we have coming up, we'll feel more of that motivation to actually embody what was just illuminated for us with this Pisces new moon. Excuse me, Pisces full moon. Obviously, I need more rest for my mind. So, friends, some ways to work with the energy of this full moon is really to let yourself get clear on the stories, the patterns, the habits, the beliefs that are keeping you small, and to find some way to let those go. Some of my favorite ways of releasing with a full moon involve using plant magic. If you want to learn more, please pick up my book. Hold on, I have it right here. Please pick up my book, Everyday Plant Magic, where I share some rituals that you can use both with new moons and full moons. One of my favorites for releasing with a full moon is to create a botanical candle. I should probably do a video on making a botanical candle, both for release as well as for attraction, for calling things in. So anything you can do, if you're looking for some journal prompts to help you get clear on what it is that you want to let go of for this full moon, how the areas in your life where you're playing small, please check out my moon blog. You can find that at infinitesucculent.com. Head over to the little tab that says moon and you'll see them all there. And I always offer journal prompts for every new moon and full moon. So you can find that there. I'll put a link down below. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to spend time reflecting upon yourself, to embrace yourself where you're at, and to recognize also where your soul is calling you to up-level, where your soul is calling you to transform. And I hope you too feel this potent energy of allowing for your own transformation. Happy, happy full moon in Pisces. Please like, share, and comment if this resonates for you. Also subscribe if you like this kind of content. If you're looking for anything specific, like for example, you would like for me to make a video on creating botanical candles for the new moons or full moons, please let me know in the comments below. And also you can check out everything I just shared in more detail with journal prompts, along with an astrological forecast from my dear friend Melissa, in my moon blog, linked below. Happy full moon, friends. I'll see you next time. Bye.